Hey y'all, so just got the news last night that the US bombed Iran. Um, One of the most predictably stupid things anyone could do. And I mean, not just stupid, also devastating in so many ways to so many people. And, a lot of people are really broken up about it, including me. So I thought this was a good time to put this video together that I've been meaning to for a while, called Beyond Activism, because I mean, it's not an either or thing, of course. I'm not saying like, oh, don't do anything, don't say anything, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the ultimate outcome of anything. And if not for activists, arguably I wouldn't have the right to vote. Um, Maybe it's not even arguable. Uh, you know. Um, so yeah, like I say, it's not either a thing. Not a. This isn't a manifesto or an explanation of how things are. I don't know how things are. There probably is no way things are, but this is just some thoughts about, how to respond when the world's gone completely fucking crazy again or continuously. Um, yeah, so the problem with activism is that its gains are always so tenuous and always contingent on finding some way to overpower the powerful. Usually tends to be violent. Sometimes it's largely or even entirely nonviolent. It's always painful and it's always a power game, whether it's money or weapons or raw people power or sympathy or news coverage or whatever. Um, it's a power game. And guess what? The powerful will find a way sooner or later, the moment they can, to take as much of that power back as possible. They, for example, maybe the civil rights movement succeeded in part because of sympathetic news coverage. Well, now the corporations and the racists have to take over the news. So propaganda, lying, subterfuge, whatever it takes, they'll get the power back, or they'll try. And then we're back where, I mean, maybe we're not exactly back where we started, but we're still in the middle of this sick, messed up power game. And they, they can, they're highly motivated, very well resourced. And so, yeah, the gains can just be snatched right back before you can blink. So, yeah, I'm sick of power games. I personally have no interest in power games. Like, I don't want to overpower anyone. I don't want to feel like I have to, and I don't want anyone to overpower me. Um, and, it's easy to say, well, that's naive. Power is all there is. If you don't overpower them, they'll overpower you. Then it's like, well, but that's the whole problem, isn't it? The mindset is exactly what the US and Israel use to justify what they do over and over and over. And is that really how I want to be too? But what else can I do, right? In the face of all these rights being rolled back, in the face of all this violence, in the face of all this just abject stupidity. Yeah, okay, educating the public, please. Politicians who are on the right side of this, great. Activists who are marching against it, great. Like, again, I'm not saying like don't do any of that, but um, at some point, my tendency is to like, okay, but surely there's another path, like the unseen path, the third way. What's that? And what Angelo says is that these are cycles of karma on a global scale. I mean, this is like, it's not something we can stop, not by force, and not even by persuasion. Like, oh, the rational thing to do would be XYZ. Like, humans aren't as rational as we like to think we are. Um, so even if like you can point by point make the essay that this doesn't make sense and it's probably going to go badly, it doesn't really matter. rationality doesn't matter, because when you don't see other people as human fundamentally, then, or you think you're more important than they are fundamentally, you can't go anywhere from there. That's like you're kind of stuck in your own solipsism in a way. And so it doesn't matter what anybody says about anything to some degree. And a lot of people are there. That's where a lot of people are. Yeah. My political science professors at Stanford, I like 19 years old, whatever, I was horrified by the fact that they would talk about like, how do we relate to this, this country? Should we use carrots or sticks? And I was like, do you think the rest of the world is composed of donkeys? Like this is, like a big liberal arts institution, whatever that, I mean, a lot of it's conservative politically, but at least the professors are. I mean, whatever. It's like big money kind of corporate blah blah donor place. So of course it's going to be a bunch of warmongers. But yeah, carrots and are you kidding? Like, what if you acted with your neighbors like that? Like, oh, should I threaten him or bribe him? It's like, who the fuck wants to relate to other people that way? But that's how like the establishment of the United States sees international relations still. Um, yeah, so our hearts definitely cry out like we got to fix this. We got to help people. We got to save everything, and that's great. And some people have made it, like the hole in the ozone. Like who would have thought we could come together on that? But we did. So it's possible, and that's great. Um, but 10,000 new problems have sprung up since then. That yeah. Anyway, so it's not very satisfying to see like, oh, they're huge cycles of karma. We can't really stop them through force or persuasion anytime soon. Um, because like the problems keep coming back. And when you're a person with a big heart, seeing all this play out on deeply personal scales, like every single time I see another baby with its leg blown off and its parents gruesomely murdered, courtesy of my tax dollars, my heart breaks again. Every time, when I heard the news about bombing Iran, my the dread in my gut and the ache in my heart and the knowledge that so many millions of hearts and guts felt the same or worse, it feels very real and very awful. Um, so like, what can we do? How can we stop the cycles? Well, we probably can't in our lifetime. Can we work on setting things up for the future to be better? Maybe, and maybe that's not even the point. Maybe an asteroid will hit the Earth, at some point and make it all moot. But um, so what can we do? What Angelo has said all along, and I'm kind of, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm just brainwashing myself into believing my own dear leader. But it seems to feel more and more truthful that what we can do is we can keep waking up, we can end our own suffering, so that we can be a true source of solace in the world. Not a conditional source, not a easily triggered source, not a source that's gonna, I don't know, have all the great intentions in the world and then end up making things even worse. Um, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Who knows anything? Um, but we can be and share what we feel most deeply called to be and share. Um, that's an option. And it seems like, kind of first do no harm. Maybe that's relevant here too. Um, right now, for me, what feels like my main focus is continuing the realization process while writing a novel that's on this subject and being kind and helpful on whatever scales I can. Um, and like it can feel wildly inadequate. I just made a video about that. Um, but I can't manage the planet single-handedly. And yeah. I can't remake the world in my own image. And I've tried in ways, by by facts and logic and persuasion to influence politics directly. And in a way, I've seen the limits of that. Uh, when enormous cycles of karma are rolling, it's like trying to slow a 100,000-ton aircraft carrier by pushing on the walls. It's just like, what are you doing? You're just adding your weight to the aircraft carrier without even trying to, without even wanting to, and completely wasting your energy. Maybe the best way to slow it is, and it won't be fast, and it won't be satisfying to the ego at all, is to cut off its supply of fuel. To remove yourself from the cycle, to be the kind of person, live the kind of life you want to see in the world. Can that ripple outward over generations and really change things? Is that even the point? I mean, obviously, right now, an awakened person in politics is probably not going to last very long. Like, they tend to get thrown out quickly by the powers that be. But maybe someday there'll be thousands of awakened people in politics and millions of awakened people voting for them. Or maybe there'll be totally new systems of government we can't even imagine that just aren't sort of set up in this way that somebody has to take the power either by voting or something else. Who knows? One way to find out. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it's meant to work, but I also don't have a better idea right now, and I'm tired of suffering. So I don't have definite answers. I have nothing but my own instincts, which I was apparently born with, and I can try to follow them, or I can try to buck them and go power through, and yeah. That seems to be the choice that I have. I've also, incidentally, had an experience in which, my mystical experience in Jordan, where all of human bliss and all of human suffering was seen as like a thimble under the barrage of Niagara Falls, or like you've lived all of your life on this tiny little electric microcircuit, with a voltage of like zero point 0.1 volts, maximum and minimum, right? Compared to the power of the sun. Like, it's just, all this stuff that looks to us so life-sized, so important and real, is actually so infinitesimal and so ephemeral, at least according to the experience that I had. And we have the option to be chill about that, like, even as these tiny, flawed, apparent beings. I mean, again, not easy when things seem very life-sized and very personal and very terrible, but it is an apparent option. So, and in the 14th century, the Sufis already knew so much that, modern psychology is like, oh, look what I discovered. Like, for example, Abdul Karim al-Jibi, a Muslim Sufi saint from what's now called Iraq, he wrote, "The sleeping man believes he acts from freedom, yet his actions are determined by whichever servant currently dominates. For 1 hour it is anger who reigns, the next desire, then fear, and then rationalization. Each of these forces believes it is the I during the fleeting reign." Right, and today they call this like IFS, or parts work, or inner voice therapy, or family constellation, whatever. And it all speaks the same truth, which is that we're made up of like an inner community. Like the angry warrior, the sensitive child, the perfectionist critic, the the sullen, fearful one, the rational mind that tries to like take it all and like make sense of it, and the desire that just wants whatever it wants, without necessarily any rationalization at all. And something else, which is not a part, but is present with every part. And it feels like you call it the ground of being. In IFS, they call it the self. It's a place where it seems like the coins of the realm are presence and compassion. And with enough presence and compassion, it's like the most recalcitrant part possible can kind of like calm down, join the fold, become part of a more harmonious system, right? Not by force. Force does not work in this realm at all. It's it it makes everything clench up even tighter. Like it's all about presence and compassion. Um, yeah. So somebody wrote on one of the I copied and pasted this from some Facebook group. If they see this video, feel free to take credit. But um, I mean, some Facebook post, and I didn't remember who it was, and I can't find it again. But anyway, they said awakening follows its own laws and stages. First is the tyranny of the ego. This is the stage of chaos. The inner ministers fight for power. There's no leader, so each part tries to grab the wheel. The one who shouts the loudest, the one who forces their way through, the one who's the most self-involved and passive-aggressive takes control, and the entire kingdom suffers. The second stage, the democracy of the ego, we start listening to every voice. Instead of suppressing, we say, okay, what do you want to tell me? We learn to recognize, oh, this is the part that feels afraid, ashamed, angry, and they want to be seen. They want to feel their feelings. They want to be validated as, once you say yes, you can be here and you can feel exactly whatever you feel, they can calm down so much. And we start to build an inner parliament where all parts are allowed to speak. And this is a huge step. This is like maybe what we call democracy in ideally, in politics. But it's not the end. The final, well, anyway, the third stage. Who knows if there's more beyond this? But it feels like the effortless flow of the soul. Like more and more, the deeper self begins to emerge, not as a tyrant, uh, not as like the king, but as a space that sees and loves and accepts everything. Like not a commander who gives orders, but a ruler who listens, understands, and I don't know. I don't know how to describe this. I don't know if you even have words for it. But it's like the soul, or like the ground of being, a glimmer of divine consciousness that leaves not out of fear or control, but out of love. And it's kind of like once maybe it's like once you and your children have enough of a or your friends have enough of a relationship of mutual respect that it's not even a question of who gets to decide. You all just like um, you talk it out, whatever it is. You're like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let's think about it. How can we make everybody happy? You know, like it's possible to get a group of people to the point where it's not about power games. You don't need to have a vote. People kind of just fluidly figure out this process of existing together. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, small little conflicts break out, but it's not, everybody knows like this is not an existential threat. This is like, oh, I want pizza, I want Italian. Okay, well, well, maybe pizza and Italian. I want pizza, I want Chinese food, right? Um, and it's just like, huh, well, okay, we have pizza tonight and Chinese food tomorrow night or whatever. It's just like it's not a big problem. It's just you have that preference, I have this preference. We talk about it for a minute, we figure something out. Like, not a big deal. And I know that gets harder on bigger scales, but ideally, um, when love and awareness suffuses everything, struggle becomes a passing phenomenon mediated by, like, I don't know, like the Tao, by flow. People, brother and sister, husband and wife, this country and that country, see with at least some clarity that everyone is equally human, doing their best, and ultimately have the same goal of living well and peacefully on this garden planet together. Um, and every part, even the most wounded one, can find its rightful place at the table and be treated with respect. Everyone can be heard, and we don't have to keep thinking we have to resort to carrots and sticks. Um, the power games that effectively treat others than less than we are. Honestly, we shouldn't be managing donkeys with carrots and sticks. The non-human world deserves life and dignity as much as we do, but that's a topic for another time. Um, and obviously, even if we get to this sort of utopia where nobody really fights anymore and everyone just talks it out, there can still be problems like overpopulation. There can still be sticky situations over, who gets what resources. But again, one hopes there are better ways of figuring that out than treating each other like donkeys, right? Um, you could also have a problem where like too much peace leads to a kind of stagnation. Um, but again, that's theoretical, and you know, um, I'd like to find out personally, because even if it's true, then like we can find another way forward from there, maybe, right? Or not. Maybe we're just a warlike species, and this is just how it is, and you just got to kind of find your peace and do your best within those parameters, wherever you happen to fall in the world. Uh, I don't know, but just some thoughts as the world goes a little bit crazier right now. And you know, also I've seen videos of Iranian people helping each other out in ways that are absolutely magnificent in the face of all this. So don't forget, people can be absolutely magnificent even when it seems like everything is going so poorly. So, like, yeah, there's that too. I don't know what my cat's rattling something over there. But anyway, yeah, so it's not all bad. And it's all a hill of beans in the end of the day anyway. So, yeah, good luck wherever you are. Love you.